So I did my assessment literacy on CVM. Not only must schools teach academic skills, but they must measure how successful each child is acquiring these skills. And that's why CVM is very important. What CVM is, it is a method teachers use to find out how students are progressing in academic areas such as math, reading, writing, and spelling. CVM is composed of standardized directions, materials, timing device, scoring rules, specific standards to measure performance, and a record chart or form. So spelling CVM is a sensitive measure of spelling achievement. In spelling assessments using CVM, the teacher reads aloud words that students are to try to spell correctly within a time limit. The teacher may give 12 to 17 spelling words within a 2-minute period. Each spelling CVM involves students spelling a list of words. Spelling CVM is administered to the entire group or individually. The teacher grades individual spelling CVM samples after administration is complete. So how to conduct spelling CVM? There are steps that you need to follow. You gotta obtain grade level spelling CVM list. So each list is different but at the equivalent grade level and with the same number of total letters. The list represents the whole year spelling curriculum, and the list contains 12 words for grades 1 and 2 and 7 words for grades 3 and higher. Then you gotta provide students with paper and pencil. It's better if you use lined paper, and you can also use spiral notebooks. You have to use a stopwatch or countdown timer that displays seconds. You have to be sure that you're testing in a quiet environment. Then you consistently use standardized directions for administration and scoring. You can administer 3 equivalent lists the first time in one session or across days. The median will be the first data point on graph. You have to use 20 to 30 equivalent lists for duration of year. You gotta ask students to number paper 1 to 12 in grades 1 and 2 or 1 to 17 in grades 3 and higher. Then you gotta score the spelling CVM, and after that you graph the data and you set the goals depending on the results that you got. So scoring, the score can correct letter sequences or words spelled correctly. So correct letter sequences takes more time, but is a more sensitive measure. And first and second graders should have 55 to 70 correct letter sequences, and students in higher grades should have 125 to 155 correct letter sequences. The first letter in the space before is the space before the first letter. So graphing spelling CVM. Graphing the data is very essential step in conducting spelling CVM. There are several ways to graph the data, whether manually or by using computer software. Manually, using a paper and a pencil, the teacher draws a vertical axis including all the ranges of student scores from 0 to the highest. then draws a horizontal axis that includes the total number of lists in which instructions were presented. Then the teacher creates a template of the above and one copy for each student. And in case the teacher did not graph manually, there are several computer software and online resources that can help with the graphing process. So how spelling CVM relates to database instruction? CVM scores illustrate the progress of the student and can also set goals for that student throughout the whole year. Teachers use this method to monitor student progress. It is an effective way to determine individualized goals for students. If the trend of spelling CVM progress is the same or very close to the aim line, teachers should not change the goal or instructions. If the trend of spelling CVM progress is less steep than the aim line, teachers change and modify the instruction in some way to better address individual student needs. And if the trend of spelling CVM is higher than the aim line, teachers can make the final goal more challenging. How spelling CVM relates to the IEP. So the IEP includes information related to the student's strengths and weaknesses as well as individual needs. The IEP team can transform the student's initial scores on spelling CVM test into an IEP statement of present level of performance. Spelling CVM can set long-term goals for students, and spelling CVM is an alternative assessment methodology that can be used both to fulfill some of these requirements and to assist educators and parents in developing an IEP that is educationally meaningful and helpful in addressing students' spelling skills. So, some frequent asked questions about spelling CVM. How often should spelling CVM be given? If you're using CVM for screening or benchmarking, 3 times a year, fall, winter, and spring. If you're using CVM for progress monitoring, 2 times a week for any student. What if the teacher does not understand one of the letters written by the student? So in this case, the teacher will not give any credit to the student, and he or she will also explain the reason why. Why should we conduct spelling CVM? Spelling is an important skill for writing and evaluating that also provides information about students' decoding. How much time does it take to administer and score spelling CVM? The time needed to score each student list will depend on the proficiency of the speller, the grade level, and the experience of the scorer. So other frequent asked questions about spelling CVM would be, what should I do with the scored spelling sheets? That information can be kept in a portfolio along with the graph data to demonstrate progress over the year. And the last one would be, what if an interruption occurs during administration? If a significant interruption occurs, stop administering the spelling list and administer a different list at another time, and another appropriate time. Okay.